Yo, what is good, everybody? It is your boys Ant and Ange, both of the duo, here to give you a top 5 meta deck discussion for the 2021 format. You know, there's a lot we could say about this format, and I would just like to sum it up as basically a couple crippled dogs walking into a dog fight together. It is not pretty, but this is what we're doing with it. And you know, there's a lot of interesting decks and things to say about it, so we're going to take a deep dive into the decks today.
And before we get into the video, I would like to remind everybody, if you guys like the content, leave a like, comment down below what you think about our list is, and do not forget to subscribe for more content and turn on that notification bell because we have new videos coming every Monday and Wednesday. So let's go into number 5.
Yes, sir.
So number 5, we have the Phantom Knight Burning Abyss deck. Now this is one of the combo decks this format that has proven to be pretty successful. It is a non-linear combo deck that has a lot of capability and a lot of ways to make its end board of normally a 4-negate Appaloosa, a Dragoon, and 2 Fog Blades set, as well as a few other disruptions. Now the Phantom Knights are very strong because they act as double extenders and follow-up for the next turn, as a lot of the Phantom Knights have on-field effects or they have effects in graveyard where they banish themselves, and it creates this great follow-up and a lot of amazing synergy with other generic level 3 support, as why they use the Graph and the Seer to pump out more link and rank 3 plays. The deck can be very explosive and play through a lot of high impact disruptions such as Lancia, Droll, Gamma, and Nibiru.
Yeah, this deck is very resilient. It's a lot like Dragon Link is, in that it sets up not a completely FTK board, but a very hard to break board. You're gonna have to spend all your resources trying to get through it, and every card in their graveyard is just more follow-up for next turn. And there's a lot of resiliency with this deck, and one of the benefits that you can see in the deck list is it's like Dragon Link, except that it also has a Zeus, which Dragon Link actually cannot play, and that's one of the major benefits of this deck, as well as having the Red Eyes Dragoon. Even though you do have to play the bricks, you're ending on Red Eyes Dragoon almost every turn, because even if you do get Nibiru'd before an Appaloosa or something like that, you can still go ahead and use the Link Spider, link away the token, and then you have 2 monsters for sure in your graveyard to summon, and just go ahead and get that free Dragoon. And it's very nice, and you get a free burn for 3k, so this deck has seen a lot of success at the local level, and there's a reason for it, because it just synergizes so well with itself and has a lot of cool tech options that you could play in it as well. So there you go.
And on our number 4 spot, we have Dinosaur. Now everyone is tired of playing Dinosaur, but if there's one thing we do know about the strategy, it's extremely resilient. There's multiple 1-card starters, also non-once per turn card searches for your 1-card starters. And on top of that, Miscellaneousaurus is still an annoying card we all have to deal with, but we are learning how to play around it. But it's just so annoying when you can create no interaction with your opponent when Miscellaneousaurus is resolved. And on top of that, if they are going second, they also have the Conductor to just break entire boards with ease as soon as they have the Conductor Miscellaneous combo ready to go.
And one of the good things about this deck as well, this format, especially with of Prosperity, is it doesn't have a very bad going first setup either. Like I said, a lot of the decks this format are pretty weak, so setting up any board with any sort of monster negation and spell and trap disruption is pretty good against your opponent. And as long as you duke it out in those turns 2, 3, and 4, usually you are set to win the match.
Yeah, another thing that's really strong about Dino is the fact that they could have Lost World produce that token, and it also shuts off all targeting capability with the interaction of your opponent. And another thing that's really strong about Dino is that its ability to run Mystic Mine successfully in a meta strategy. Now, we often see Mystic Mine as kind of a stun strategy, or a stun card, if you will, but in this variant, it's actually seen as something to propel the combo of just protecting the castle with Conductor. And we see that a lot of meta decks right now like to set up a semi-large board with a few negates, but if you resolve that Mystic Mine, you are surely to win the game with the Conductor just outright. So without further ado, let's go to our next deck. This is Zodiac Outlet. Now, this was actually one of my personal favorites of the format, since I played it for a long time. The ability to outgrind any deck of the format, this deck has it all with it. It could just straight out win because your opponent has no more resources left. It could act as a Divine Arsenal double Zeus Turbo with your Zodiac engine. The flexibility to run multiple card engines or tech trap choices to counter the other top decks. And it also could play a lot of other generic hand traps and disruption. Creating a huge control game state is something that Eldritch is known for and does very, very well.
This is a trap deck, and it sucks, in my personal opinion, but we gotta have it up here because it is still one of the most popular decks. It's pretty weak, this format, but like we said, Divine Arsenal a Zeus is a pretty good card with the Zodiac stuff. And I would also, have this spot going to pure Zodiac as well, because Zeus is just that good. So any Zoo variant, in my opinion, is very, very good. So you gotta give it up to the L Zoo, still out here trying to win some games.
Shout out to the other Zodiac as well, because running the Kaiju Slumber as well as the War Crime strategy of 20 hand traps still proves to be extremely strong and resilient throughout this whole meta game. Another thing I like about this deck is the ability to play through just about every hand trap. Maybe you'll get hit with a crow or something, but that's really about it. As we've seen, Ghost Bell is not really used in this current format anymore since Drytron has taken a backseat into the rogue category. But that does it for our number 3 slot. Let's go to our second best deck of the format, and it goes to Invoked Dogmatica Chadal. Now, wow. Still normal summoning Alistair, getting the search. Gets negated. Oh wait, doesn't matter. You had the invocation in hand anyways. As we've been seeing since, a very, very long time. This deck is still being played. It's still seeing wide success. The Mechaba window lock is still super strong, especially since now we have things like Chadal Schism and also the easy access to getting Mechaba on your first turn. And on top of that, we have other extenders in the deck, such as Nadir's Servant, getting your Ecclesia with your Punishment and Fleur-de-Lis. So just all these engines just are able to play through multiple hand traps, just breaking boards, and also proving to be one of the best mid-range control strategies the game has yet to see.
Oh, most definitely. Winda is a broken card that pretty much beats every single combo deck, and the multiple engines in this deck are really, really nice together, especially because they allow you to turbo out the Chadal engine with all of your Dogmatica stuff, with the Nadir Servant being a starter, getting you to your full engine, especially if you have something like Maximus to rip away your opponent's extra deck. If they are not prepared for it, it can really, really hurt them. It really has a good matchup against the best deck of the format, which is what we'll talk about soon enough. And it's just a really great deck that's still out here doing its thing, just like it was about a year ago at this point. But now we have the Dogmatica stuff in there.
Yeah, and the introduction of Pot of Prosperity really puts this deck over the top as well. And the re-editioning of the Super Polymerization coming back into the format slowly. Just another card that says your opponent cannot respond to, just creating just so much pressure that your opponent has to deal with. And it's proving to be one of the best decks as we see. But for some honorable mentions of other decks that can match up to the current top 5 decks, we have Virtual World. Just Virtual World's resilience and ability to play through so many different hand traps and disruptions and setting up a semi-decent board. Either they go for the hand loop, they go for a Dragoon combo with the Clear Wing, or they set up the Shen Shen control board. very strong still. Shen Shen is still a very, very overpowered card. And we also have Tri Brigade and the Leerless Tri Brigade. Very great combo deck with the Windbeard Statue Lock, just stealing games if the opponent is not prepared for it, nor do they understand that matchup. And then finally, we have just Dragoon.decks. Dragoon is one of the most format-defining cards we've seen in a while. It came out in August of 2020. Upon release, it really didn't see that much play, but as the current formats were shaped up to be, they just were basically repeat formats, just hindering other strategies more and more. And now Dragoon is finally a card that we see as a problem, but every deck should have some sort of main deck out to it, as it is not that hard to get over. It's just rather annoying, if you will.
Oh yeah. And on to the final deck, which is my favorite deck of the format. Actually, I'm kind of over this deck, honestly. It's Dragon Link. We all know it's been here for over a year now, ever since, the Dragon Link FTK with Shun Ping got perfected. It was just inevitable that this deck has been begging. We've been begging, really, to get this LP banned already, and it just is so resilient. And now we have to deal with these Dragon-made Dragon Link decks that are going around. It can play through multiple high-impact hand traps and disruptions. You're going to end on Savage, Seal, and the Dragon-made trap now with ease, even through a Nibiru, because if we just set up Seal, it's a free search. So it's just so many good extenders in the deck. Ability to lock your opponent out of the game with other variants, such as the newly unleashed Dragon Buster, Destruction Sword Lock. But the deck list that is getting the most popularity is the Dragon Maid deck, and it's so resilient just because the combo that it sets up creates a lot of recursion. There's a lot of big monsters that are really, really hard to out and just have so much recursion. And the new Dragon Maid trap to bring back all of your Dragon Maid girls to go into the Striker Dragon and recharge your play. It's just the best thing. Turn 2, and you just make Borreload Savage for free all day.
And not to mention that the deck has extreme powerful extenders and monster disruptions. Things like World Legacy Guard Dragon being a double extender, Chaos Dragon Levianeer ripping a card out of your opponent's hand, and the non-once per turn quick launch excel this deck farther than we've ever seen any deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! For quite some time now.
Oh yeah, it has good going first and going second matchups because it can just OTK through just about any board. It can set up a very, very nice board that is, like we've seen, it's pretty not that hard to out. There's a few disruptions, but those disruptions are very impactful against a lot of the decks today, and it creates that recursion that is just so hard to out. All the generic dragon support that has been released throughout the years have just been mashed into this deck, which is why it's one of the most fun and rewarding decks to play, in my opinion, because there's so many different dragon pieces working together, and it's just so nice to be able to pretty much barrel through any single board.
Are there any ending remarks you would like to have and say?
Just want to say thank you all for checking out the video. I hope you guys liked the discussion. Let us know what you think in the comments section below. There's a lot of cool decks that we can play, and most of them are pretty fun to play. So nobody should really have too terrible of a time enjoying themselves at this format.
I'd like to thank you guys all again, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you in the next one. See you later.
Peace.